Hi family, hope you're well. Here's an update from me. I had many friends and family and send in messages on like Facebook, WhatsApp, dropping comments on the YouTube channel, Telegram. I don't know, there's too many platforms. So I'm just gonna make this video and post it to my YouTube channel. if it's if it's not erased, we'll see. But I just wanted to give a shout out in one, like a shotgun approach, and then everybody can know that I'm still alive and kicking. But I'm not quite out of danger just yet. So I took some notes so I could give you the skinny. If you want to see how the clock is built as opposed to what time it is, please have a look at some of the comments I posted in the description of the videos that I most recently posted. I will not go into the gory details here. I'm just going to give you an update, let you know that, first of all, I'm still alive and kicking. Then I was, I literally had a small light at the end of this tunnel, of this long, tunnel that I've been enduring here. And I finally found somebody that I thought that could help me, but very much like, I don't know if anybody's seen this sci-fi movie called Cell, but very much like that. It was just like this hijacking of the person that I thought I knew, and he just kind of, well, he went rogue, let's just say that much. He demonstrates on multiple occasions to have homicidal and suicidal behavior, and he's openly sabotaging the efforts that I'm trying to make to ensure my safety and his safety, and some other life and death kind of issues. And yeah, he just, I don't know what to say, but well, Cell, just watch the movie Cell, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyhow, so I am set to move again. I don't know where or when exactly. I have nothing. I thought I was gonna go to a certain place, and this person that went rogue, he was helping me, but I don't know. Who knows? Wherever Great Spirit leads me, I'll be there. Let's see. I want to mention that from the on Caesar's calendar, fake time, from the 29th of November through the 17th of December is a moment called Ophiuchus. I always butcher that, but I'll spell it. It's Ophaeucas. And it refers to a moment in time where we have like the most powerful connection / access to the sacred creation, the sacred powers of creation. So as always, as a general rule, a good idea to practice discernment in the wielding of your magic, the wielding of your free will choice, which is a privilege, and be aware that now is the time. It's a period of time where it's like what they call a fortuitous moment. It's a moment that we would say you strike when the iron's hot. You forge the steel at the moment that it's hot. So it's hot now, okay? Illustrations of this you can see in the streets all over the world, I presume, but for sure here in Mexico. A friend of mine just made me aware of several protests that are going on across the country. I just want to say one thing about protests is, like anything else, what is the objective? Ask, what is my objective? What is my purpose? So, in this case, I suppose, I don't know what the purpose is, because maybe people are tired of living under hyperinflation, the usual. They're feeling backed into a corner and no other recourse, so they get out into the streets and protest. And in many cases, a protest will precipitate something called a revolution. And remember what I said about anything that has R-E in front of it means to repeat or return or revolve. In this case, around a dysfunctional consciousness loop of the slave master mentality, forgetting who we are and what we're capable of, and all that. But at this moment is a little different now, because we are well into the 500-year prophecy, and we now have a heightened opportunity, if you will, to do something other than revolve, to do something other than revolt, but rather to create something totally different, and in that case we evolve, right? With regards to the protests, I just want to go back and say, what is the purpose of the protest? Because, like, what is it? And analyze after the protest too, what has changed. Like, there was a protest, a couple months ago, or I can't remember, a couple months ago, and the farmers were protesting the price that they were being offered for their lemons or limes. So they went out into the streets and blocked all the traffic, which caused harm to other people who were just trying to get to and from and make their way in this world of debt-based fiat currency money. So the protests in this case didn't do anything. It didn't achieve the objective of the protesters, but not only that, it did more harm. So it's important to have discernment and know that there are other perspectives we can take and other possibilities that we can create, as long as we don't revolve. So in this case, I would say, what's the purpose of my participation in a protest? But let me be real clear. I'm going to make this real unequivocally clear. Teddy does not jump in no protest. Oh, hell, I would not waste my time, let alone put myself in danger. Like, that's general order number one as a foreigner living in any country, is you do not engage in the political protests of the people. Let them do that shit, right? I will never do that. But, let's say, if I was, let's just say I was a Mexican national in this case, and I went and got, well, what would be my objective? That would be what I would ask myself. What's my objective? What's my purpose? What, am I just getting out in the street so I can bitch and moan and complain, or am I going to do something about it? What's my plan? What's the objective of what I'm doing? And if what I'm doing achieves that objective, then good, super, great, fantastic. But if it doesn't achieve my objective, then you see, it's not enough to just protest. In fact, it's really rather childish, in my humble opinion. It presumes a slave-master relationship that is a fantasy that we've created in our own mind. I'm not going to go into details about what I would do if I were, say, protesting the price of the cost of living and the price of everything. I know what I would do, and I'm already doing it. So, welcome family. You want to come and join me? We can talk more about that later. Now, I want to also mention up north because, you know, that's not too far away up in the States is, well, let me just break this down for you in maritime terms. Oh, sorry, my buddy. I took a video of him earlier. Hope you can see him. My bee friend. He's on the he's up here on the bed with me while I'm taking a video. All right, here we go. In corporate maritime terms, am, because it's a lifelong thing, I am a commissioned field grade officer of the corporate maritime courts. So, listen up. I know this might be, I'm gonna break this down as simple as possible. Let's see, shall we move chronologically? So, what is the United States? Well, it's a corporation. It's not a country. It's not a republic. It was a corporation. Said corporation was a merger. Like you had like these two slave trade companies. One was called Virginia and the other one was called Northwest, but they were slave trading companies. And they got together just, you know, coincidentally, a couple of years before the Civil War in the United States. The Civil War. 1871, circa 1871, these two corporations merged together. These two companies merged together to form the Corporation of the United States. Said corporation was then immediately bankrupted, as I covered in at least one other video, perhaps in my Holiday and Holy Day series on maybe Labor Day or something. I don't know. But with regards to the so-called Civil War, that was, you know, like all wars, is fomented by the central bankers. And the United States Corporation was thereby bankrupted and placed into receivership. How many years later would it have been? 60 years later? In 1933, I believe it was. And so the corporation that was bankrupted was allowed to operate until 1933, and then it was placed into receivership. I'm not going to explain these legal terms to you. If you want to check out what they mean, look them up online. If you can find the truth online anymore, I don't know. So here we are. We'll carry on all the way from, say, 1933 to 2019. In fact, you know, ironically enough, the 4th of July, the so-called Independence Day, in 2019, this is contract terms here, the contract of the interim government as opposed to the government that was already dealt with behind closed doors. But the interim government, the contract of the interim government of the United States Corporation expired on the 4th of July, 2019. And then commenced the shutdown of the borders and the so-called tariffs, which is PSYOP. It's a word. The real what it is economic isolation. Bankers' wars again, but this time to break the back of a country. Let's see if I remember correctly, that was 2019, 2020. Okay, yeah, all the embassies and the U.S. consulates, anything that was operating abroad shut down, and then it sort of, you know, drew back, the corporation drew back until it was finally everything, even domestically, shut down. I reckon was that 1 September? Yeah, that'd have been, it was announced, I believe, on the 1st of September, because then the 30th of September is the end of the fiscal year right? It's a corporation. It operates on fiscal years. And so by the end of September, when the books were closed out for the fiscal year, then they could settle it up and in a vulture, kind of way. Then the initial slave trading companies sort of divvy up the assets, if you will. I'm trying to make sure I don't leave out any actors. There was also, I want to say 3-4 decades ago, the introduction of something called the AIIB, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, which was established and over the course of 3 or 4 decades allowed to proceed to be in a position to take over for the Federal Reserve. Because that whole UCC maritime corporate thing going on with the United States was over when they knew it was going to be over. So they had the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank basically buy up all the debt that we don't owe. That was my first video erased on YouTube. Maybe I'll post it one day again. But they basically, it's just, think of it like a business, right? Think of it like, okay, I'm going to grab all this, what they call debt on the books of the bankers is actually an asset, right? Like everything that's right is wrong, and everything that's this way is that way. It's the legal fiction system. So that's what's going on now. So when the corporate maritime law recedes, then when one door opens, where one door closes, another one opens. So when this one's receding, this one's now coming to the forefront. And that means to say that common law has been restored. So good luck calling the police. The police are policy enforcers of the UCC Maritime. They're still sitting up in there getting paid, but they're not going to respond to any requests for help, for sure. And it's down to us, and it always has been down to us. It was just a little mind trick that we allowed to be played on us when we believed that gubernamente, mind control, that's the Latin words where we get government, means mind control, that something outside of us could control our minds individually and or collectively. So so that time is over now. It's time for us to kind of look at, well, how did our ancestors do it? Well, first of all, they were sovereign within themselves. They went through their rites of passage. They did their shadow work. They weren't consumed in a hedonistic lifestyle and absorbed and completely lost in the AI scrying mirrors, and they knew the value of work, and they just got busy and did what they needed to do to make sure they took care of themselves and their families and their tribes and live in peace. Under the system of the central bankers, we have this mental disease. I think I don't know if I'm ranting now. Yes, it's not too much of a rant, because that was my next subject here, is that it's time for us to drop the mental disease of scarcity. It is a mental disease. This idea of scarcity is a complete fallacy. Ants in a jar. I'll mention this. It was a test. How they're always doing tests on animals to see, how they can apply it to us, the humans. When I say they, I mean the ones that believe that they should dominate and control and stuff. The actors that aren't allowed to be on our stage anymore. That's what I'm referring to as they. But hey, bravo, good job. Perfect active evil on the stage. Very good. 5 out of 5 stars. But thanks for playing. Cocktails are in the back. Now it's a different time. And so this ants in a jar, I'll tell you real quickly about this behavioral study. if I'm not too running short. Actually, you know what? I'm going to shut this video off now because I'm just hitting 20 minutes, and then I'm going to do part 2 starting with the ants in a jar.